Hey there, this is Prentice, and thanks for stopping by and taking a look at my page. In this video, what we're going to do today is, last time I covered part of the get-up, the beginning part of the get-up. This time I want to cover just another little transition and again give you some assistance exercises that you can do that'll help a little bit with your shoulder health, some hip flexibility if that's necessary, and also some agility. So let's get started. What I'm going to do now is review the get-up, show you the movement from a couple different angles, and then we'll break down the tall sit position. Okay, so what we're going to do now is break down the tall sit position. And a couple of things are happening here. So from our half get up, we get to the tall sit. Now, on the side of the kettlebell, I want that wrist to be straight. I don't want the weight of the bell to pull my wrist into extension here. Let that handle sit right on the heel of the hand. Arm is vertical. Elbow should be straight. Now we get to the shoulder. We don't want that shoulder to be elevated, but rather packed. So play with this movement. Shrug it and then let the shoulder kind of sink into the socket. Move around, do a couple of chest pries. Just make sure everything is dialed in on that position. Now, on the shoulder, see how I'm putting, this is a really nasty shoulder. It's really impinging now, it hurts. So what I want you to do is rotate so the pit of your elbows pointing forward and push down. Push the heel of the hand into the floor and sit up nice and tall. So, the last time we did this, we worked on the arm bar. And you'll notice a trend. I'm going to keep coming back to a lot of movements. I don't want to bore you with the repetition, but also I want you to see that for a great number of drills, you'll have the same solution. So I'm going to show you that arm bar again. I'm going to roll the bell up into a press position. So right away, we're practicing with a straight wrist, straight elbow. And what we're going to do is drive ourselves, so remember we're going to bridge and get over onto the side. So now we have nice straight elbow here. Now what I want to do is rotate that shoulder in and out, get it rotated out. So think about what we're doing with that hand on the floor. trying to get the pit of my elbow to point straight ahead into the camera, and just getting my shoulder used to being in that position, supporting some weight. So now, when I come back up into the seated position, I know what it's like to rotate that shoulder out, and now we're going to work on driving through the floor. So to do this, I'm going to get into kind of an L-sit position. We're not going to do a full L-sit, but rotate so that the pits of the elbows are pointing straight ahead. Now they're pointing in this direction, and you're going to practice pushing your rear end off of the floor. The elbows are going to stay straight, and do this for as many reps as it's necessary for you to get it. Now, another thing that you can do to work on the rotation is to develop a little bit of sensitivity. I'm in this tall kneeling position here, and a lot of times if I've ever cued anyone to rotate the shoulder, this is something that kind of happens at the forearm, nothing really going on here in the shoulder. So we're going to take a little stick. This can be a rolling pin or whatever you have around, and rotate your forearm so that the palm is straight ahead. Now, keeping that forearm fixed, I want you to move at the shoulder. Try to roll the shoulder in, roll the shoulder out. The forearm shouldn't move in this position. Do that for 5 to 10 repetitions, or as long as it takes for you to get the response. Okay, so the next movement that we're going to work on is the low sweep into the half windmill. A couple of things that you'll need for this: a little flexibility in your hip rotators, and you'll need a little flexibility in your inner thighs to make that happen, as well as a little agility. So, first thing that we want to do for the hips is just get into this stretch here. A little piriformis stretch. Lay down on the back, bring that knee up here, and just gently pull your leg over to the midline. Let me switch legs so that you can see that. Pulling that leg over to the midline. Now, I'm not twisting the spine. We don't want to twist the spine necessarily in this position. Keeping the spine and pelvis flat and pulling that leg over across the midline. Just like our stretching protocols, we want to hold that for 30 to 60 seconds. As you become more advanced, we're going to get into this pigeon stretch. So I'm sitting here with my knee at 90 degrees and the other leg is bent behind me. Again, if this causes knee pain, don't bother. You can do this you can put this leg on a table, or stick with the first variation that I showed you. It works just as well. Now, what I want to do is bend at the hip, not my lower back, but bend at the hip and try to stretch in this position. You can hold it for 30 to 60 seconds. As you get good, as you get a little more flexibility, you're going to come up into this position here. Knees bent 90 degrees, and you're going to do some cycles of deep breathing. Inhale, exhale, and sink. Try to sink into that stretch. Inhale, exhale. And get as low as you comfortably can in that position. The next thing we're going to do to stretch out those inner thighs is a frog. So I'm going to turn around so that you can see this. Spread the legs out to the side and keep the knees at 90 degrees. Now once you're in this position, get down on your forearms here and rock back and forth. Rock forward, let your legs split apart, push back, and hold the stretch. Again, for 30 to 60 seconds. So now once you have that, you have flexibility on your inner thighs and in those rotators in the hips, you're going to sit up in a nice tall figure four position, or in martial arts, this is like a self-defense kind of a sit. Now, what you're going to do is push up on your foot and arm and let that leg, let the bottom leg sweep through until you come into a base. Again, I'm sitting in this position, self-defense sit. I'm going to push through my hand and my foot and into a nice base. So we're not reaching out here, reaching back, nice base. So when you practice your get up, it's how that will look. Let's get this on my left side here. So I'm pressing, getting into that half sit. Now the tall sit, tall half get up, tall sit, pushing through the floor like we did for the L sit, and I'm rotating that shoulder back. Here, I'm shrugging up and letting my shoulder compress into the socket, packing it into the socket. Now, I'm going to bring my feet in. This is just like the self-defense sit that we just practiced. And I'm going to come up into a good base. Get back down. Again, push up. Get into a good base. Sit down, down to the elbow. And we're done with that. So that's it. We worked on the tall sit, and we did a low sweep into a half windmill. So a couple of assistance exercises. Always go back to that arm bar. It's a good shoulder stability exercise, as well as a good stretching exercise for both your lat and your chest muscles. Then we moved into a piriformis, or your just outside hip stretch, and also a pigeon stretch, so that we can get into this half windmill position. We did a frog stretch, being able to split those legs apart so that we have space to create a nice base when we're in our get-up. And we did those L-sits, learning how to push through the floor using the shoulder musculature, our lats, to help us push through the floor, help us really depress those shoulders. And we did some sensitivity exercises with the rotation. So practice those. If you're new to the get-up, work only up until this transition. Never go beyond your level. Okay, so if you don't have the flexibility, don't try to gut through it. I promise it'll come. So keep practicing. We'll see you in the next video. Please leave your comments below, and if you haven't subscribed to the page, please go ahead and subscribe to that, and feel free to share it with your friends. You can also say hi over on the Functional Fitness Over 40 Facebook page. So enjoy, leave me any questions, comments, and we'll see you soon.